breakdowns and predictions. Listen, there's some good fights on the undercards of these two fights. But I'm going to break down, in my opinion, the two biggest fights of the weekend. I think either one of them could potentially be a fight of the year candidate. As a matter of fact, I think both of them are going to be extremely entertaining. We'll talk about the first fight, and that puts pound for pound top fighter. He's the monster. No, he's another monster. The monster. Inoue is the unified super bantamweight champion. He's got a record of 32 wins, 0 losses. 27 of his wins coming by knockout. He's ranked number 1 in the world by the computers. He is a unified champion, having all the belts. He's also the ring champion, and ESPN, who doesn't have a champion, ranks him number 1. He's got the same amount of professional fights as his opponent, Inoue-Nakatani, but he's got 41 more rounds as a pro. Inoue has 205 rounds. His knockout ratio is above 84%, which is actually about 10% more than his opponent. He's 33 years old. He's an orthodox fighter. At 5'5", he's given up 3 inches to his opponent. But the reach is about the same. He's 67.5. His opponent is 68.5. Look, he's got some great wins over some top-notch fighters: David Picasso, Ramon Cardenas, Louis Neary, Marlon Tapales, Stephen Fulton, Paul Butler, and, of course, Nonito Donaire. Nonito Donaire was not at his best, but, he was blown away. He's an exciting fighter to watch. He's been down, but he gets up. And he's like a national treasure in Japan. He's being talked about to fight Bam Rodriguez. Everybody wants to see that fight. I'm actually a little surprised. He seems to have been around so long. He's 33, and these lower weight classes, they age a lot quicker. 32 wins, 27 knockouts. Now he steps in the ring with Junto Nakatani. He's got the same amount of fights, 32. Same amount of losses, none. He's got a little less knockouts at 24. He's got almost 10% knockout ratio less. Nakatani comes in at 75%. He's got 164 rounds as a pro, which, like I said earlier, is 41 rounds less than Inoue. The computer has him ranked at number 2. Right behind Inoue. The WBC, the WBO, and the WBA all have him ranked at number 1. He's not rated by the IBF. Now, I just want to pause for a minute. This is one of my biggest problems, okay? This is one of my biggest problems is when you got clearly a top fighter. Here we, have clearly the number 1 and number 2 fighters in this division. Every sanctioning body recognizes it but one. The ring has them up in the top 3 as well as the ESPN. So, everybody that's ranking fighters have these guys close together, and this is what makes this fight so good, in my opinion, that, it's as close as being even as you can get. He's a southpaw, and at 5'8", like I said before, he's 3 inches taller, but only an inch longer arm reach at 68.5. His 3 best wins as a pro, there was a lot of good wins for Inoue. The 3 best wins for Nakatani, at least in my opinion, June 8th in 2025, it was a 6th-round stoppage over Rozoki Nishida. In February of 2025, a 3rd-round stoppage over David Contreras. And back in October of 2024, he got a 6th-round stoppage over Tassana Salapat. And Salapat had 76 wins and 1 loss when Nakatani beat him. Now, in his last fight, he fought Sebastian Reyes. It took place December of last year, actually December 27th, and he won a 12-round decision over Sebastian Reyes. I didn't think he looked that good in that fight. He won a unanimous decision, and one of the judges had it pretty lopsided. The other two had it pretty close, I believe, if I recall correctly, 115, 113. I know one judge was and highly in favor, but I watched that fight, and I thought it was close. As a matter of fact, I thought Nakatani was running out of gas towards the end of the fight, and he's going to need a full tank if he expects to beat Inoue. I think this is going to be an entertaining fight. I think we might see a couple of knockdowns in this fight. Maybe both fighters get knocked down. But at the end of the day, what I saw in Nakatani, now maybe he was looking ahead because they all knew that if he beat Reyes, he was going to face Inoue. Maybe he was looking ahead. But to me, I don't know. There was something up with Nakatani in that last fight, in my opinion. He won the fight. He won a unanimous decision. But, he didn't look as dominating as he has with most of his previous fights for the last year or so. I mean, last several years or so. Because of that, and because Inoue has not seemed to fade at all, I'm picking Inoue in this fight, and I think it's going to be an extremely entertaining fight. Now, David the Monster Benavidez is taking on Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez. I want to start off by saying the similarities between these two fighters is freaky. They're very similar, okay? Their styles are similar. Their stories are similar. Their build is similar. I'll start off with Ramirez. His record, 48 wins, 30 coming by knockout. He's only got one loss, and that was against Dimitri Bivol back in 2022. He lost a 12-round decision when he was a light heavyweight. Now, when you look at Ramirez, he started basically got on the map as a super middleweight, and he had some pretty good wins at super middleweight. Giovanni Lorenzo, he had a win. Zuniga, Maxim Vlasev, all wins at super middleweight. Then, he fights at light heavyweight, and he was beating some good fighters. I mean, you look at his resume, Tommy Carpenter, he beats him, Alfonso Lopez, Sullivan Barrera was a major player in the light heavyweight division when he fought him back in 21. Dominic Baselli, Joe Smith Jr. when he moved to cruiserweight. We all know how tough Joe Smith Jr. was. My man Coach knows a little about Joe Smith. Won a 10-round decision over him. He fought Chris Billiam Smith, who's fighting again. We were just talking about him with Zuffa Boxing. Yuri Dorticos, he's got a win over. I mean, look, he's been in there with some pretty good opponents. He started out at middleweight and super middleweight back in 2008. He moved to light heavyweight in 2019, and then he moved to cruiserweight in 2023. Before I really dissected this, I'm like, Benavidez is going to be much smaller. Well, maybe not. 49 fights. He's got 18 more than Benavidez. He's got 313 rounds as a pro, which is 146 more. He is the WBO champion, and he's listed as the WBA champion in the cruiserweight division. The Ring ranks him at number 2. ESPN ranks him at number 2, all in the cruiserweight division. He started pro. He turned pro in 2009, 4 years more than his opponent. He's 34 years old, which is 5 years older than his opponent. The height and reach is about the same at 6'2.5" and 75 inches, respectively. And Zurdo is a southpaw. Now he steps in the ring with David the Monster Benavidez. He's 31-0. 25 of his wins come by knockout. He too was in the super middleweight and light heavyweight divisions. He's actually the current world light heavyweight champion for the WBC, and he's got a WBA belt. He's one of like 27 world world light heavyweight champions that the WBA has. I'm sorry. He is the champion for the WBC. The Ring has him at number 2. ESPN has him at number 1, all in the light heavyweight division. He's moving up to challenge Gilberto Ramirez for his world cruiserweight titles. The monster is 29 years old, 5 years younger than Gilberto. Ramirez, like I said, he's got 18 rounds less 18 fights less at 31 and 146 rounds less than his opponent at 167. Now, his knockout ratio is higher. He's got just about an 81% knockout ratio, which is 20% higher than Zurdo Ramirez. He's 4 years less in terms of turning pro. He turned pro in 2013, and Ramirez turned pro in 2009. Like I said, the height is roughly the same. He's an orthodox fighter. Right now, he's the WBA, WBC champion, WBA and WBC light heavyweight champion. When you look at his resume, he's got some names, bros and girls and children of all ages. At super middleweight, Khalid Plant, Ronald Gravel twice, Jalen Love, Anthony Durrell, Alexis Angulo, Ronald Ellis, Kyron Davis, all at super middleweight. Then he steps in he also fought Demetrius Andrade. I'll mention that, but that wasn't a very competitive fight. But then at light heavyweight, he beats Alexander Vodzik. Also, he fought David Morrell, which was an extremely close fight. I know the scores didn't indicate it. One judge had it 118-111, and the other two saw it at 115-111, which I don't think those scores were accurate. It was a close fight. Benavidez won the fight, but it was close. And he also, in his last fight, he beat Anthony Yarde. I see the tale of two fighters here that equals one. What I mean by that, they're very similar. Their styles are similar. Their road to where they are today is similar. I think they've both improved over their last fights. I think Zurdo Ramirez, he's got something to prove. One of my concerns that I talked about last week was David Benavidez is already looking ahead. He's already, wanting to fight Apatea. He wants to fight Usyk at heavyweight. The world is open to him. The world is at his feet. Yeah, well, he's got to win on Saturday first. And he's in a tough fight. He's in a fight. It could be considered like a mirror, okay, that both of these fighters, the difference is one's a southpaw and one's an orthodox. So my question is, which fighter is going to be able to adapt to his opponent better? Obviously, Ramirez has more experience fighting orthodox fighters than Benavidez has fighting southpaws. I think Benavidez and Ramirez both have solid chins. I think Ramirez is slightly less talented from a boxing perspective. I think David Benavidez, although I don't really look at him as any kind of super boxer, I think he's developed into just a smidgen more of a boxer. Not that I'm saying his style is a boxer. No. I'm not saying that. But I think his boxing ability has improved a smidgen more than Ramirez. I think this fight is going to boil down to heart and determination. I really do. I think we're going to get a war. I think it's going to be an edge-of-your-seat fight. I do not foresee any real feeling out round in this fight. Maybe the first round, half of the first round. I think we're going to see two big, strong, talented Mexican fighters going after each other. And, man, I think we're going to be treated for a good fight. Now, who's going to win this fight? Well, I'll tell you, I've been going back and forth. My main man, okay, my main man from Riverhead, Long Island, my main man, Augie. You know, him and Augie Jr., you know, we've been talking about this fight really for a long time. And, you know, for the longest time, I've been on the fence. And then I started leaning towards Ramirez because I'm saying to myself, you know, Benavidez is being a little cocky. He's looking ahead. He's underestimating Ramirez. Ramirez is playing, I'm the underdog role, all those things that fire fighters up. But the thing is that I have to take and look at David Benavidez potentially using his own stuff that I'm saying could be hurting him as a motivational tactic. And look what you can achieve, you know, if we get the job done against Ramirez. Benavidez is also going into this fight theoretically with he's got nothing to lose because he's not giving up his light heavyweight title. He's also said that he was going to go back down to light heavyweight, which is his way out, in my opinion. If he loses, he can just turn around and say, well, I didn't take the weight that good. You know, so I'm going to go back down to light heavyweight, and all is good. I don't think he's going to lose any value. So I do believe that Benavidez is in a win-win situation here. And Ramirez is the guy that there's more pressure on because he's got to win, and nobody's going to be able to say, well, you beat a smaller guy, because these two guys are the same size. They're the same size. And I'm just leaning towards David Benavidez in this fight. I think David Benavidez is going to come out on top. I just have that feeling. I think it could go either way. I think it's a true 50-50 fight. But my official prediction is I'm picking David Benavidez in this one. And there's the return of Jaime Munguia on this card as well. I know it's on pay-per-view, but if you got the DAZN subscription like I did, you get that part of it. So I'm looking forward to that fight. Hey, listen, I'm glad all you guys stopped in. I appreciate it. Just remember, tune in next week, same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, I'll leave you with this. Ciao, baby. Hey, don't you miss those fights. They're going to be good this week. Be good.